Hey guys, Bicebump here, bringing you this Unholy Death Knight Raszageth Mythic Guide. Today we're taking a look at the most recent Raszageth Mythic kill I got, where I finally managed to get a good pass. This one specifically is going to be around rank 9 overall for this boss. I'm running this kind of odd Clone Shadows hybrid build, which I can't remember exactly. Someone recommended being like, oh, this is interesting, right? So I picked that up and I got it to work and I feel like it does well. However, there are two other builds you can run. You have the disease with Epidemic and then the classical disease raid build. Hard to say which one is best here. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. My build does quite well in the intermission and also have good single target damage. Epidemic with disease does really well at damage but sacrifices quite a lot of single target, and then the kind of classical disease does really good just pure single target priority damage, right? Try them out, see which one you like. I'm not sure one is specifically better. If you look at the top logs, they're all kind of scattered with different versions of these, so it is, I don't think there's one go-to build. When it comes to gear and such, trinkets should be Puzzle Box and ideally Grief Torch actually. Grief Torch specifically has good value in this fight because you can use it to nuke down the the priority ad in the first intermission, and you're going to see me do that here. One thing to note here with army timings, I use 3 army gargoyle combinations on this fight. Quite a lot of players do 4, and it depends a little bit about your timing. So what you can do, either like I do it, you would use gargoyle on pull. You could use gargle on the first shield and then gargle at the start of the final phase. However, you can also do gargle on pull, gargle in the just start of the first intermission, gargle on the second shield, and then gargle on the first phase. So you see that combination does net you an extra gargle, which is not that great value, but still you do get it. And I'm not 100% sure what's best here. It might depend whether or not your priest comes with you down to the platform or not. For me, the priest goes on another platform, so I wouldn't get a PI there. Not convinced which one's better. I think they're both viable to some degree. Anyway, let's have a look. See, I'm gonna talk it through the fight, give you my tips and tricks to optimize your DPS, survivability, and so on. Phase 1 is gonna be very easy for us. We have Death Advance to use whenever the boss knocks us back, which means that it's gonna just be a breeze compared to what the other players have to deal with. I do my classical single target open air. You can see I use Blight instead of Outbreak because I picked that up with this special hybrid build. You can see what I've used up here if you want to follow my rotation. These first sparks, we're going to Dot's Breath, put down our aim Z, immediately jump to full ruin power and leverage that to just pump into our gargle. Alright, we've got the first sparks here. I have a macro over there, you can pick that up. It would automatically interrupt and use your Death Grip and Mind Freeze on the sparks. So you just need to spam that. I put it on a scroll wheel and then I just face the sparks that needs dying. And it's going to be an easy way to kind of target them and interrupt them. I generally, since I have long range interrupts, I wait to use my interrupts until everyone's used the AoEs. And then if there's anything left, that's when I use my interrupts to make sure nothing explodes. You can use Blinding Sleep as well as a last resort, but generally it's not that, you would generally not be able to hit lots of mobs with it. It's just oh, that's an extra interrupt I can use. You can see that everyone gets knocked back. I just use my Death's Advance. We have our preset positions. I generally like to use my AMS for the sparks. Here you can see, so those ones were dying rather slow, so I faced them and I spammed my macro, which meant that I then grip and mind freeze and so on to interrupt them using the macro. When it comes to defensive usage here, so I like to use AMS for the sparks. You get quite a lot of damage intake there. However, you should always make sure you have some kind of defensive if you get targeted with the big circle, because that deals a lot of damage. So I always make sure that I have IBF as an emergency kind of use if I do get that one. You can see I now get the bomb, I run back, I'll use my IBF. I also had AMS here, which is ideal if you could use that. Oh, there we go. If you don't have AMS, use IBF in that scenario, right? But I did have AMS, so all good. do another set of sparks. Boss is, facing at 65% health. You can see I've just been using my cooldowns as soon as they come up, which is pretty important here, because as it comes out, if I use my cooldowns immediately throughout the fight, they will come out exactly when I need them for the first shield. So I need to be very careful about not delaying my CDs. You can also see that I use my second empowering weapon, right? I know I'm going to use the first shield, so I can use one here, get that PI, get some extra value, and then I will use the next one for the third shield. Now we're getting up knocked into the mission here. The whole plan here is just to do Deafening Cleave and Epidemics as much as possible, right? So I just hit the mob until everything spawns. I dot it up, and I'm going to spam Epidemic, and then you can see my cooldowns come up, so I'm going to press them as soon as possible, right? I'm going to use my, Unholy Assault, Apocalypse, everything. Spam Epidemic, and then pop down Death and Decay, and then do Claw and Shadows, right? Generally, it's better to use, I think Epidemic is more damage per use. It's very close, so whether or not you're doing like Epidemics or Death and Decay Cleave, it's similar damage. You can see there, target the guy, use my Grief Torch, which I've saved until this point, and just make sure we kill it immediately. Nothing else, nothing that much happening here. We're doing that kind of baiting. You can see the breath is coming soon, so we stand back, wait for breath to trigger, and then we run forward, so we get a good breath position. All right, we've got the ad spawning. AMS can be used there for the Shroud, which means that you completely dodge the healing absorb, which is huge help for your healers. So if you plan to have a couple of these Shrouds go off, make sure you use AMS for them, right? I used it on the first one and this one to mitigate that damage as much as possible. You can also see me there, I did use my Dark Transformation, Blight, and Apocalypse. ASAP, my Apocalypse did get a bit messed up because the big ad, which I was planning to use it on, ran away, which means now it's going to be delayed for my actual burst. Now here's where a big part of your damage come in. 10 seconds before the shield, we're going to pop Army and Dark Arbiter, right? We're going to use all our cooldowns here. You can see I waited with my Dark Transformation there specifically, so I actually buffed my Apocalypse. Run in, pop down AMZ, and just spam Death Call, right? You will have infinite rune power here, so just use them as much as possible. You can see up here, it's just, 4 Death Calls in a row. And you can see I'm now at 123k DPS. This is like by far your biggest burst window, and it's very important to do this properly. If you do first shield, second shield, it's the same thing. 10 seconds beforehand, that's when we're going to use Army and Dark Arbiter, so that you have the best overlap with the Ender Arbiter for when the shield is actually there. Right? We have pre-positioned positions here, where I'm going to stand to make sure I don't cleave anyone, and I'm going to make sure I have Death's Advance for each one of those knockbacks. If you don't have Death's Advance, you're going to keep getting pushed back, keep taking damage, which is not a good thing. So make sure to use Death's Advance and then run forward so you take only a single AoE burst. I was a bit out of position there. I should spawn my Spark a bit to the left. We have pre-assigned position for the Sparks as well. But it's what it is. We don't always have the luxury to be able to be exactly where we want to be. Second shield, we're going to commit our Grief Torch here. It's a great opportunity to do so. Just deals a lot of damage. Right, we've got blue, find us up a partner, pop our cooldowns, which should be coming up now again. Right, so my Grief Torch, I use all my other cooldowns, and just, blast that shield. We don't do nearly as much damage on this shield compared to the first one. I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of players like to do a second shield for their Arbiter window, to make sure that kind of, dies. We have no issues at all dealing with the shields. And with the nerfs that were just announced, I'm not sure you will either. So doing first or second shield would be up to you. Death's Advance, run in, make sure we don't get hit more than once. For this next shield, you can see it's in 30 seconds. We're going to save our Blight DT Apocalypse, so we have them for that shield. Saving is by far more DPS, I think, because you essentially do double damage by saving them. Whereas you only lose 30-40% of a single use by holding. Right, we've got Spark spawning here in 4 seconds. Gonna make sure I position myself properly. Come on, biceps. There we go, to the left. Ah, messed up. Again, use my AMS to stay healthy. Got the search, right? We're gonna find a group, use our cooldowns. You can see here that we do get Army and Gargle back here. But the thing is that we know we're gonna have a 10-minute kind of lost coming, so I won't get them up for that, which means that's why I saved them. And the boss also goes into the mission, right? So I did make one crucial mistake here. You want to potion early on pull so that you have it up for the first shield. I didn't, so I lost quite a lot of damage there. Ideally, you want to potion on pull 5 minutes and 10 minutes, right? And then you get the best kind of overlap. I didn't, which, you know, I knew I was supposed to, but then I forgot about it every time. So here we're gonna use Apocalypse on this guy, and then he's gonna spawn small adds. We're gonna make sure we are full on runic power, and then now we're just gonna be dealing loads of AoE. So make sure the pet is on these. Pop down our blight, and then just spam Epidemic. Pop down FNK, one Scourge Strike, and then just Epidemic. Alright, I'm this group where we're gonna take the portal here. Once to dodge the breath, we can have this guy spawn. I'm gonna go onto that one. Now it's gonna be very important to not dot up the ads, so I'm gonna be really careful about using my outbreak here, because you might actually end up ruining the face if you dot up one of the ads and they end up, you know, walking into the boss. Right, this guy dies, so we're then going to move on to the next one. I'm just taking it easy, going to touch the breath, kill this guy, make sure we use Soul Reaper, and then we're going to jump up to the final platform to do the last bit of burst. You can see I have all my cooldowns ready, Army, Gargle, and all the swords coming up. I'm going to use my potion as well. We're just going to be blasting the boss as soon as we get there. Or not as soon as we get there. You can see that Bloodlust is still 26 seconds left. It will depend on how quick you are in phase 1 when you get Bloodlust here. As you can see, I don't have it, so I'm going to hold my cooldowns for a couple of seconds before I send them here. Alright, boss is soon at 35% health, so that's when we're going to start using our Soul Reaper. I'm just wary to not use it too early here. There we go, 36%. Use my Soul Reaper. Alright, we've got Bloodlust coming now. I'm going to use my Army. There we go. Use my normal opener. Exactly like we do it. Like when we pull the boss, that's the kind of order you want to do here. Right. You do get tipped there, so you don't actually need to dodge the breath. People get the AoEs, we just dodge those by taking the portal. Now I'm just blasting the boss, right, using my Soul Reaper as much as possible. Grief Touch coming up there as well. And then we're going to start knocking back these tornadoes. Right. It's a good idea to kind of spread out the number of stacks so some people don't, you know, take loads of them. But I've not been able to pick something up so far. Alright, dodge the breath. Just keep doing the single target rotation here. There we go. Knock that back. Keep using Soul Reaper. It's like, this is, you know, a pure single target scenario where you're just gonna be blasting the boss as much as possible. We get the pull charge. That's gonna be on purple as a sign. Every second one is purple. Every second one is right on the boss. Right. People get the charges. We just run through the boss. He's at now at 10%, you know, easy peasy. I think ideal timer for a Unholy DK to do maximum damage here is to get double Gargle in this phase. However, we kill it far too quickly, so that's not going to be a possibility. It's all about, I think my best kind of tip for this phase, obviously you want to use our defensives appropriately, which is going to be generally when the boss does his wave. So you can see that's where we spread. This is an excellent opportunity to use AMS. And then also, since we're tanky, it's a good idea to take quite a lot of tornadoes. Like, you are a good target to have a lot of stacks on. And then it's all about, you know, focusing on your rotation, not messing up your cooldowns, and you're going to do very well. Boss is now at 2%. I get another PI just for the sake of it, and it dies, and we're at 95k DPS. All right, so that's Raszageth Mythic for you as Unholy Death Knight. I hope that was helpful. I've not pulled this boss many times, unfortunately, so I can't say I'm the most kind of experienced when it comes to it. I didn't progress with the guild, so I just came in afterwards. But I still feel like I have a good grasp on how to maximize my DPS now. So I hope this was useful. Let me know down in the comments. Are you going to do the 4 gargle or the 3 gargle option? Which build are you going to try out? What do you feel works best for you? That kind of thing. Upvote, downvote, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.